Okay, we're going to start with factoring. Factoring a polynomial reverses the multiplication process, so it is the opposite of what we were doing today. And we're going to start first by factoring a monomial from a polynomial. So we're going to begin with 5x to the 5th plus 10x to the power of 3. Write this on page 27 in your notebooks, please. Okay, so how do we factor this? We're going to have to find the greatest common factor amongst these two terms. So I'm going to use prime factorization. So first, let's go ahead and list all the prime factors of 5x to the 5th. Well, 5 is a prime number, so its only factors are 5 and 1. So I'm just going to write 5. And x to the 5th represents 5 x's. Now I'm going to list all the prime factors of 10x to the power of 3. The prime factors of 10 are 2 and 5. 2 times 5 is 10. Both of them are prime numbers. And then I'm going to expand x to the power of 3. And now we're going to take a look at what's common amongst both of them. Well, I can see that both of them have a 5. And I have 1, 2, 3 x's that are common amongst both of them. So what does this mean? It means that the greatest common factor is 5x to the power of 3. So when I take 5x to the power of 3 from 5x to the power of 5, I'm going to have 2 x's left. And when I take away 5x to the power of 3 from 10x to the power of 3, I will have a 2 left. Now I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this with the factors. So this is going to become 5x to the power of 3 times x squared plus 5x to the power of 3 times 2. So now, again, what do they have in common? Well, both of them have a 5x to the power of 3. So what do we do now? Well, we're going to factor the 5x to the power of 3 out. So 5x to the power of 3. And then inside of the parentheses, we're going to have x squared plus 2. If you go back and use the distributive property here, you should get the original binomial, and we would. 5x to the power of 3 times x squared is 5x to the 5th. 5x to the power of 3 times 2 is 10x to the power of 3. Okay, now let's do something this time. You're going to go ahead and practice. Write in your notebooks 3x to the power of 2 minus 18 and factor the greatest common factor. Factor it out. Pause the video for now. Go ahead and solve it, and then unpause the video so you can see how it's done, or so you can verify your answer. Okay, so this is how you do it. We're going to start by listing the prime factors of 3x squared. Well, that is 3 times x times x. And we're going to list the prime factors of 18. Well, the prime factors of 18 are going to be 2, 3, and 3, because 2 times 3 is 6, times 3 is 18. And for some of you, it might be difficult to find the greatest common factor. If it is difficult for you, you can use something that I like to call the birthday cake method. I'm starting with the 18, and I'm going to divide it by a prime number that is a factor of 18. Well, 18 is an even number, so I know that I can divide it by 2. 18 divided by 2 is 9. 9 can be divided by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 is a prime number, so that's where it ends. So that means that 18 is 3 times 3 times 2, which is what I wrote here. Now, let's take a look at what's common amongst them. Well, both of them have 1, 3. That's it. This one has 2 x's, but this one doesn't have any. This one has an additional 3, but this one doesn't. This one has a 2, but this one doesn't. So then that's it. So the common factor is going to be 3. And I'm going to rewrite this as 3 times x squared. And this one is going to be 3 times 2 times 3 is 6. So I'll rewrite the original equation, or the original algebraic expression, as 3 times x squared minus 3 times 6. Now again, both of them have a 3, so that's what I'm going to factor out. So it's going to be 3 x squared minus 6, and that's the answer. Some of you might remember this from Algebra 1, and you might not have to go through this whole process and might be able to identify the greatest common factor right away. If that is the case, that's fine. You can go from here to here in one step. Don't worry about it. You don't have to show all of this work. If you're struggling, then I do recommend that you go through all these steps so you don't get confused. Let's try one more example. It's going to be 4x to the power of 3 minus 2x squared minus 6x. Okay? Go ahead and pause the video, work on it, and then unpause it once you're done so you can check your work. Okay, so let's check the work. So for 4x cubed, it's going to be 2 times 2 x, x, x. For 2x squared, it's going to be 2 x, x. And for 6x, it's going to be 2, 3, x. Now, all of them have at least 1, 2. All of them have at least 1 x. And that's it. So that means the greatest common factor is going to be 2x. When I factor the 2x out of 4x cubed, I will have 2x to the power of 2 left. When I factor out the 2x from 2x squared, I'm going to have an x left. And when I factor out the 2x out of 6x, I will have a 3 left. So I'm going to rewrite this as 2x times 2x squared minus 2x times x minus 2x times 3. So what do all of 3 kind of have in common? Well, the 2x. So that's what we're going to factor out. So it's going to be 2x, and then in parentheses, 2x squared minus x minus 3, and that's the answer. If you have any questions on any of this, please make sure that you write your questions, type them on the discussion board in Schoology so we can go over those questions in class.